After 14 rounds of Swiss, after top 8 and top 4, we are here down to the final match of the Pokémon Regional Championship in Bochum, Germany. The biggest regional championship in Europe so far, right after Cologne, which was the biggest at the time, last time we streamed. So we're really excited to bring you the final match here. I'm David, joined by Connor.
Yeah, I mean, what a tournament it's been, right? Like, we've just seen so many great games on stream, and frankly, a bit of a surprise coming up in the final. If you look at the format that we've had for the entire tournament, this is not what we were really predicting, to be honest. We knew Mewtwo was one of the top decks going in, and we've seen that both yesterday's day 1, it was by far the most played deck, converting well into day 2 as well. But there's been a number of shake-ups into where we'd expect decks to be, especially today.
Yeah, it was very interesting because for the day 1 meta game, there was most played deck was Mewtwo and then Gardevoir, and then stuff like ADP, and there were also a bunch of Giratina. I think the reason there was so much Gardevoir is because a lot of people expected ADP and Giratina to do pretty well. I mean, Garchomp Giratina, the tag team. But this didn't really happen at all. So day 2, you can see a lot of Pikachu and Zekrom and a lot of Blacephalon. And this is, I think, kind of unexpected for most people. But Blacephalon, the third most deck in day 2, actually made it to the final twice.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to learn to juggle now, right? Because the clowns seem to be here to stay.
Well, I mean, it is Carnival season.
Yeah,
so
sure. But they did really well in Sao Paulo. They did quite well in Sao Paulo, which was the beginning of this format. And it has been weird. It kind of dropped off. People were like, nah, it's too inconsistent. But clearly not. We've just seen Stephane has multiple times been, stamped down to small, low hand sizes and just goes off anyway, which is just an unbelievable ability to have, so that he can just go, pop, off he goes, win a game.
Yeah, and, well, Blacephalon is so strong against these tag team decks, and if you take a look at the chart again, Mewtwo and Mew, most played deck, followed by Pikachu, if you ignore Blacephalon. Then we're here at ADP. Well, I mean, the control decks are kind of odd one out, but then you also have the Gardevoirs, so very interesting metagame here. And we have Stephane Ivanoff playing against Brennan Kamerman. We actually had his brother on stream.
We did earlier on. He was playing Pikarom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they didn't play the same deck.
I always find that weird when siblings are they must test together, right?
Yeah,
surely you test together.
Yeah, they are twins, so they look almost alike. So you would usually expect them to play the same deck, but no. So the game started. Setup is already finished,
and we are underway. As we see that whilst they're both playing this, the non-GX version of Blacephalon, they have very, very different approaches. And approaches that actually kind of deal with the issue of the deck in different ways. Brennan plays the list where he can set up a load of birds, so the Pidgeotos, and airmail his way to victory by basically drawing out of his stamps by drawing 3 additional cards every turn. This means that even if he does go ahead early and get low hand sizes, he can find ways back. Stephane has gone for the, I think, frankly, more aggressive approach by playing the greens. And this lets you get into this situation where if you get stamped, if you hit your greens, you're fine. And also other consistency options like the acrobikes, and he's playing multiple Pokegear to kind of go and find things. So they deal with the issue of this deck getting stamped because it can take price cards so quickly in very different ways. And I frankly feel that in this particular matchup, since Stephane's playing one reset stamp, Brennan is pretty heavily unfavored because his build isn't as quick inherently. Though, frankly, if you get the Elm turn 1, start the Jirachi and get a load of Pidgeys into play like this, I think he might have a chance, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at 5-Pole Circus, you need to discard a lot of cards from your hand, and there are different ways to get them into your hand. Of course, the strongest card to just get a bunch of Fire Energy card is Fire Flint, and also the Fire Crystal. These are both item cards, and that's the reason why Stephane and a lot of his peers decided to go for a version with Green's Exploration. You have a lot more space for item cards if you just go for straight, just clear 4 Blacephalon, and then most people play 1 GX and then a Victini Prison Star. Then you just need to play Welder, get your energies on board, and you're ready to go. Yeah, Brennan's version also was very popular, I think, especially after the Oceania IC, where it did kind of well, but afterward it gained a lot of traction. More people knew about it, and more people knew how that kind of build could look like. Here you actually see both supporter cards that kind of fuel the deck here. Am on the left side, being able to search the deck for 3 Pidgey or Pidgeotto, since the Pidgeotto also only has 60 HP, which is very handy here. And Stephane on his side with Green's Exploration. And of course, both utilize the Welder card.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see that like Stephane's opting to go for the Ultra Space here, because Brennan currently doesn't have anything to attack with in play. And okay, there's a lot of potential for airmails from the Pidgeottos, assuming Brennan has multiple in hand, really, to go and find him stuff. Giving your opponent the option to have an attacker, where currently, I mean, frankly, he could be playing like a stall deck right now, right? Like there's just a Jirachi and 3 Pidgeys. This could easily be an Oranguru, which has included a Jirachi for some consistency. But instead, going to go and get his second Blacephalon down. And this is going to be a weird matchup, because these decks actually thrive on KOing multiple 3-prize attackers, taking out the tag teams. This is going to be quite grindy and slow, because they only play 4 attackers, well, 5 attackers, because of the Victini that they both play. And they have to discard 3 energy every time. Now, okay, both of them have enough ways of recovering it, but it's going to be a very slow back and forth, and ultimately it's going to come down to who runs out of attackers first.
Yeah, and here we see Stephane actually flipping one of his prize cards. If you get a little lucky and hit a fire energy, you are actually able to knock out a Jirachi, which is very relevant, since there are so many Jirachis in the top decks. However, yeah, Stephane did not hit what he really needed. And now it's on Brennan's turn. Like Connor just mentioned, he can just use Stephane's Ultra Space, go for Blacephalon. He actually had 2 Pidgeotto in his hand already, so he can start airmailing really quick and try to accumulate cards in
I wish I always had delivery as quick as this airmail. You know,
yeah, it's
like
amazing.
Turn
two,
just start drawing
directly
through your deck.
there. First you order, it arrives directly, immediately,
It's like
same turn.
Day. Same day delivery, it's great.
Amazing.
And instead, you're basically going, right, okay, we can start taking some cards. Go with the Fiery Flint. We need these eventually to start powering up our attackers, and also just to discard some to take KOs. There's actually an interesting mix of prizes, and like the sequencing of prizes is similar for both players. It's quite likely they'll take a Fire Crystal early, and since the Fire Crystal gets back exactly 3 energy, they can go KO, Fire Crystal, get back the 3 energy that you just used to KO again. So it makes that side of things a little easier, but it does mean that you have to constantly chain your attackers for the next couple of turns.
Yeah, and another problem Stephane might be facing is that Brennan might be able to attack before Stephane, and neither of them plays a way to recover Blacephalons. So if Stephane loses forfeits the Blacephalon and the Victini, he has to attack with Blacephalon Jax, which is, I mean, in theory it's possible to pull this whole shtick off, but it's not very easy. However, Brennan has the same problem. He does not play, well, he does also play Blacephalon GX, but since Stephane started attacking, if Brennan is able to retreat and take the knockout here, he might be able to outrun Stephane.
Yeah, so there are actually a total of 6 attackers in Stephane's deck, because he plays the Blacephalon GX as well. But they both do. So they both have enough to last the game. It's just they're not the clean ones, and like giving the Blacephalon GX up for 2 prizes is throwing. You go behind again, as opposed to just kind of vaguely being in place. That's a huge pickup off the Heat Factory, the escape board, letting him retreat for the attack this turn. So we can actually take the first prize card. And I think it's going to be one of those matchups, right? It's going to be a race, an all-out sprint.
I just wanted to mention that Blacephalon can just use Burst for the last prize card. So if you're able to play everything in the right order, like take 4 knockouts with your Blacephalons, then take the last one or one in the middle with the Victini Prism Star, and then you just need Blacephalon GX and energy, and then the game is over, you win. And pulling this off seems to be a lot easier for Brennan, since he can always, after each of Stephane's knockout, he can put Jirachi active, draw a card with Jirachi, then draw 3 with his Pidgeottos. And Stephane is not able to do this. He always fights from behind. His deck is probably a lot stronger against tag teams, but against other non-GX decks, it seems like it is has a little disadvantage.
Well, it's actually one of those things that, like a minute ago, I said I thought that Stephane was kind of favoured, but actually now I'm thinking about how important the ability to have a free retreat Jirachi is to almost always grab a part of your combo every turn, and it's something that I kind of overlooked because it's just been a part of the format, and I know it's a card that everyone thinks about, but it's just something that's so easy to forget about, just how much more consistent everything becomes if you're able to look at 5 cards from your deck every turn and go, I would like exactly this one, please. Thank you.
Yeah, and here really nice for Stephane. He was able to find the welder. He can get also the Victini on board, which is fine. I mean, in the matchup, it should be able to take a one knockout really quick because you only need 6 energy cards in the discard pile. Pretty sure they're already all there. Stephane should be an easy choice. I mean, like, yeah.
I mean, that's already there, right?
Here we have 2 heat factories sitting next to each other. Yeah, but the point you made, another thing that might be like, I mean, I really like Pidgey because it's not like it just gives you an extra card. It filters through your deck, so you can look at 2 and then take the one you prefer. So you, first of all, like if you just draw 3, you gain access to the top 3 cards of your deck.
Yep.
But this way you gain access to the top 6 cards of your deck. So if you're digging for 2 certain cards, you have the top 6 cards, and then with Jirachi you add 5.
Sure.
So it's, if you just need 1 card or like a combination of 2 cards, it's really likely for you to hit that. But for Stephane, on the other hand, in a normal match, like in a matchup against other tag team decks, he can just use greens and wait a turn.
Yeah.
Fine. But in this certain matchup, he needs to be really quick because Brennan certainly is.
Yeah, and actually, so there's actually another thing that we need to consider in this matchup. So, having a slightly closer look at the lists, Stephane's actually playing the copies of B-String. He's playing 2 copies versus the 0 in Brennan's, which is a huge difference because the next prize Brennan takes makes Stephane's life, in terms of setting up the next Blacephalons, much, much easier. He can just go, okay, cool, B-String, set things up. Whereas Brennan is also always needing to find Welder and attach, Welder and attach every single turn. Whilst it's okay right now because he can draw so many cards, he only plays for Welder, which means at a certain point he's going to slow down in how quickly he can possibly power things up.
He does play 1 Pulpet. So in theory, if he draws into it at the right moment, he gains access to 6 Welders. So, and he only really needs, I mean, he needs 5 because he needs 1 for each Blacephalon. And then, like I said, the Jax can just use a Jax attack to take the last prize card. But yeah, especially drawing into the last Welder might cause an issue, especially if Stephane is able to time his reset stamp well. But I mean, this is not so easy if your whole engine just is just built on top of green, the supporter card that can set your deck for stuff, compared to Brennan's just drawing every turn and accumulating a lot of hand cards. And these hand cards stack up every turn.
Yeah,
I mean, look at it now,
so Brennan having access to the Welder and the attach this turn, so he has access to the KO. I think he has the crystal in hand to even... Oh, Palpad as well, so he even gets the 2 Welders back immediately.
Yeah, here it is. So now this is a perfect time to play Palpad, because now it gives him the highest chances of drawing Welders through the whole game. So really good for him that he drew it. And like we said, like he filters through his deck, it's every turn it becomes more likely for him to draw the cards he wants.
So again, finds...
Yeah, just a 3 for the knockout, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just reuse what you used last turn. You don't want to throw them all in. Again, slightly different energy counts in both lists. It's 14 in Brennan's versus the 16 in Stephane's, which means Stephane's slightly more likely to be able to do the Welder attach if you need, every turn, because he's just more likely to have the energy in hand to get the full value from the Welder. But obviously these guys are playing things like Fiery Flint, the Crystal, and as a result they can almost always just decide if they need more energy in hand to go and grab it.
Yeah, here we see Stephane going for a Poker Gear, not getting a Welder, which is really unfortunate because he really needs it to use this Victini's Infinity attack. Also, he needs another basic Pokemon to bench.
Yeah.
He does have the Blacephalon and Jax in hand, which, you could bench it, but it's one of the Pokemon you do not want to have in your bench. But he drew into the Ultra Space, so now the Heat Factory leaves the game. I think the Heat Factory was actually kind of beneficial for Stephane because he doesn't really gain good access to. He doesn't really have good access to hand cards, so his drawing effects aren't so well as Brennan's.
So we see him just go ahead and play The Welder, draw 3 cards. He's got 2 B-strings, I think, in hand, I saw.
Yeah, but no Blacephalon.
But no Blacephalon.
However, he can use Ultra Space.
Yeah, he can go grab it.
He can still hand attach.
Yep.
So this turn is really important. It would have, I mean, of course, it would have been a dream if he just got 2 Blacephalon.
Yeah, if he had 2 attackers ready to go, it makes his next couple of turns very straightforward, right? It's just
but
promote and
he
hit.
still has time, because this Ultra Space is not going to leave, and Brennan, if he just takes 1 prize card, it's still B-string territory.
Yeah.
So if Brennan just takes 1 knockout, Stephane can use his second B-string as well. And here you can see why the Greens build is actually able to keep up with the Pidgey build anyways. Since you can just use greens, like in one good time turn, you can just use greens, do B-string, get your energy on board, and then you don't really need the Welder as much. It's a pretty cool card for this deck.
Yeah, so the difference is Brennan gets to filter through his deck, kind of choosing which he would prefer every turn, whereas Stephane effectively just gets to pick it up and choose the 2 perfect ones every turn, like more or less. And the ability to do that in particular makes him, it makes consistency a different kind of consistency. It's not having to choose, it's still the choice, but a much wider range of choice.
Yeah, and we see Stephane going for Infinity, shuffling all his
I think
energy.
7 going back
yeah,
in.
it looked like something like 7. This is actually a pretty nice turn to play it in. He needs 6, but you don't want to use it with, you don't want to have too many energy cards, since you shuffle them all back into your deck. It hurts your consistency immediately. And this is the problem, Stephane is kind of fighting against. Right until now, he actually really, did really well in that regard.
Yeah, well, so the thing is that he'll need to keep drawing them again, right? So it's actually a very nice turn to put a load back in, because you can draw. He only needs 3, and as long as he can get to the 3 in hand, he's more than happy. So he can get pretty close to that already. I think he had 1 or 2 in hand. So it means that his next attacker is ready. He can power up, and he's reactivated his B-string, because I think he was running out of energy in deck prior to that to be able to play B-string and grab. So it means that he gets kind of a lot of value from his Infinity, putting the energy back in. As we see Brennan using the Ultra Space and a bunch of airmail arriving.
Yeah, he's just going for a little ride, just taking up some cards. As you can see, his hand is not really small. Basically has access to everything that he really wants to.
Yeah, it's basically one of everything in his deck at this point, I think.
Yeah, but he still needs to prepare for a potential
you want to
reset stamp.
Yeah, you want to avoid the stamp.
Like he wants to prepare for a potential reset stamp, so why not just thin out your deck while you can? And here we see one of the other differences in the lists is that Brennan is actually playing 14 Fire Energy cards opposed to Stephane's 16. Brennan always needs to burn 6 energy. That's actually quite a lot each time he wants to attack, because he needs to have 3 attach and also 3 in hand. But Brennan, he doesn't really get hurt by Infinity, because his consistency is already assured. Oh.
Ooh, okay. So this is a decision to play the Blacephalon GX this turn. So he's going to take the knockout with the Blacephalon. Has he maybe worked out that it's unlikely for Stephane to be able to get that many energy in hand? That maybe he can just take the, he can just Mind Blown for 100 this turn, discard the Lost Zone 2. Has he maybe worked out that the odds of having the Fiery Flint and the Fire Crystal in hand are low enough, that Stephane's gone through enough of them, that it might be worth risking the 2 prize knockout? Because he's ahead in the race.
Yes, but it's still a bit weird, because this will just put Stephane ahead.
Yeah.
But currently Brennan is ahead. Another problem is that Brennan's his own Victini is priced. So I don't know if he can actually afford discarding so many energy each turn. And the Victini is a really cheap knockout, because Mind Blown only needs 2 energy cards. And most other attacks need 6. So this is a really efficient play on that regard. But then on the other hand, if Stephane now draws pretty well.
Oh, he's got Crystal, so you can get the 2 back from the Victini, so he's already up to 3. He only needs 1 more energy in his hand to be able to take the knockout this turn using the Fireball Circus. And basically, the work Brennan did early on by getting ahead, getting that quick knockout, is completely undone by just, Blacephalon gives up 2. And also, it means that Brennan still has this issue of he might just be running out of energy to be able to chain these 6 together. You know, the Victini prize is a massive difference at this point, and the fact that he hasn't drawn it from his prize cards in the first half means that, you know, that turn was probably one. If he could have infinities back the infinity, I think he'd have been far, far happier.
Oh, and here it is. Beast Ring. Really strong in this turn, especially. Stephane didn't play a supporter card yet. So he can still use the Weller if he wants to, or just the greens to set up for next turn. As we mentioned, Brennan has no reset stamp in his deck. So Stephane's head is always safe, which means that his strategy of just preparing for the next turn and then just playing from there on, it just works so much better than on Brennan's side. But yeah, Brennan has the advantage of just having so much draw in general. Stephane, for the knockout, he needs 4 energy, which is almost the same as he would need for a normal, like a non-GX Blacephalon. Yeah, so that's actually really efficient.
Okay,
since
he
gets
crystal.
It's only 1 energy more, but you get 1 prize card additionally. Otherwise, you need 12 energy for the same amount of prize cards. And Stephane, here we see the greens exploration. The whole, yeah, like greens exploration is like the glue putting this whole Blacephalon deck together. And Stephane is going for a reset stamp.
Sure, I mean, why not, right?
Fairy Flint.
You know that Brennan is clearly struggling to get to his energy because there's no way. Brennan had access to his Ultra Space. He could have taken another Blacephalon, one of which is prized, by the way. So 2 attackers prized and fairly important at this point. The fact that you can tell Brennan must be struggling already to get to energy means that, okay, well, great. If I stamp you now, it's even harder because you've just lost a load of the massive pile of resources he has in his hand right now. So, a really nice time for the stamp. You kind of stamping when you know your opponent has a dead hand can feel weird, like letting them shuffle and get a new one. But it's probably only going to get worse just because it gets so much smaller. So,
yeah, and Stephane just going for Fairy Flint. He knows there is no way that this hand is going to change, and now he just wants to take the knockout on the Blacephalon.
Yeah, he's working if he wants the Fire Crystal, I think, to take the knockout.
He did. Oh, yeah.
For you know, like you can get the 3 from the discard and like hold some in his hand. I think he's trying to work out. Trying to remember if he's playing Stamp, because at this point in the tournament, these guys have been hanging around with each other and like around the top tables all weekend. And at some point, you start paying attention to those around you. Go, well, I might face you later. And if you hear that, okay, well, maybe he's not playing a Stamp. I haven't seen a Stamp all weekend. Either he's been extremely unlucky or just hidden it.
Yeah, but the only reason to play the Fire Crystal here is just to get the extra energy, so he can attach it. But attaching energy is very crucial, so I think it's actually pretty good to take it. Yeah. And Stephane now actually took the prize card he turned over. I forgot which one it was.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And I think, another random card. So, but Brennan is really unhappy with his prize cards. Also, Stephane did not play the stamp yet.
No.
Which is I think it's pretty good, because he just wants to stamp at the very end. It's like, the ideal turn to stamp is right after Brennan uses Infinity, because then you're just like, well, yeah, draw some fire energy cards, you draw 1 now, and then, it makes the Jirachi so much weaker, and also the Pidgeys will probably just get a lot of energy cards as well. But Brennan was able to just get his Blacephalon now, can take another knockout, and if he does not draw a hitter now...
Oh, wow. Missing both of the key prize cards is a big problem. He's basically out of... Yep.
Yeah, he already
he's just like, right, cool, I ain't getting that because I'm now out of attackers. I mean, you can gust with Pidgeotto, but for 30, but that's not an attacker.
It's not an attacker. And you also have to keep the time in mind.
Yeah.
So really well played, I think.
Both sides, like...
I still don't know if the Blacephalon GX at that point was justified, but probably there was a good reason behind it. So
yeah, well, it's also I guess he had to keep up with. He had to keep racing.
Yes.
Because like realistically, if he just promoted a Pidgey or like let Stephane take a knockout on one of the single prize attackers, it's not the 2 prizes like swing, but it catches him up in the race. And you don't take anything, at which point, well, it's kind of the net the same in terms of, well, you whiffed anyway, so you're going to struggle to get there.
I guess it was fine, especially because it was just 1 energy left, and I don't know if he had enough energy to attack with Blacephalon, but yeah. Let's just see how the next game goes. Hopefully,
well, from Brennan's side, he's probably really praying not to prize that Victini because, like you said, you're throwing 6 energy away effectively every single time. Okay, you're kind of not because you can fire crystal and reuse certain things, but your resources very quickly deplete and you run out of options. Have one player having access to put them all back into his deck, well, that just makes the game so much more difficult because what can you actually do at that point, right? Like, if one person goes, oh, cool, I can keep going, and you're like, well, I guess I'm out, sorry. That's a really difficult kind of situation to be put into, because you're like, well, I'd love to keep the race going, but I've run out of juice, and I'm going to need to sit down.
Yeah, this is really difficult to maneuver, and that's why the Victini is so crucial in the matchup. Like when I first looked, the prize cards looked kind of okay, but having the Blacephalon and Victini at exactly that position.
Yeah, and missing them both.
Quite unfortunate, yeah.
Okay, so the prize cards this time for Brennan, actually pretty good. You don't care about those great catches here. They can stay there. 1 Pidgey is annoying, but you only play down 3, and the Pokegear isn't the end of the world. Meanwhile, for Stephane, 1 Beast Ring prized in an awkward spot, and his reset stamp is prized, so which means that in the event that it's a kind of slow-ish kind of start from him, he's unable to punish Brennan early, but at the same time it looks very much like it's one of the first prize cards he's going to take, so he can at least get to the reset stamp, like to at least give some form of disruption.
All right, and here we see the Professor Elm, very similar start like last game. One of his Jirachi, he plays 3 in his opening hand, combined with a Professor Elm is going to spice this game up, giving him access to all the hand cards he wants really quick. But this time, neither of them has any attackers in the prize cards. Stephane has a stamp prize, which might...
I think reasonably both players are fairly happy with these prize cards. Right, like there's nothing in there massively important. Weirdly, the 1 custom catcher being very late means that like you can't try and custom. Like if it gets to the point where Brennan promotes the Lily's Pokédoll he's playing, and you want a custom catcher around it to kind of keep up, makes it a little bit more awkward. But at the same time, Stephane's playing greens, so he can just always go greens for custom catcher. Thank you. I'll just take the prize I wanted to take anyway. As we see the Pokédoll being taken by Brennan. Well, I'm going first if I can promote this, no matter what Stephane does. Like if Stephane has the Wilder turn 1, he's not taking a prize. And actually, Stephane's going to be kind of frustrated because he started his own Blacephalon GX, which means that if Brennan can take the first knockout, he takes 2 prizes and is quite far in the lead in comparison to kind of an exchange of single prize knockouts. So that was a Flint as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a...
like fairly standard opening, right? Like he's got a load of Pidgeys, he's got his energy in hand.
And Stephane, actually, I didn't see it earlier because of the glare, but he's starting Blacephalon GX. Yeah. It's such a terrible Pokemon to start with.
Yeah, really is. Because like at any given point now, should Brennan get, I mean, his 2 of his great catches, his 2 great catches are prized, which means if Stephane can get it to the bench, it's actually safe. Because like where those prize cards are, it's very, very late in the game for Brennan to be taking them. So at that stage, it really comes kind of horrendous luck, but it's kind of been mitigated by how awkward the prize cards are for Brennan in that specific sense, even though the prize cards are way, way better than the last game. So we see on the other side another Fiery Flint from Stephane. It's quite a good card, this.
Yeah, it's strong. Like you can just search your deck for all the energy cards you want, especially in combination with Welder. You can just go on. Right now, I'm really interested in what Stephane is going for. So he has 3 attacks that he can choose from, and all of them are kind of justified, I would say. The first attack he has 10, right? So it's 10, 20 because of weakness, and then 20 because of burn. And then Jirachi gets confused. That seems like nothing too special.
No, but at the same time, we saw...
confused Pokemon can still retreat, so...
Yeah. I mean,
just Jirachi will go to the bench, and but he can use the GX attack, or you can burst.
Yeah.
No, that's the same, right? Like he can use the attack for damage, or he can use the GX attack.
Yeah, you need Mind Blown or Burst GX.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Who you're looking for there.
And both of them just draw a prize card, so it seems like the burst jack seems to be
Well, the burst checks
better
means you can
option,
attach
but-
and weld it to a benched normal Blacephalon, which means that you kind of spread your bets, right? You're not going all in and having to discard energy, having no energy in play. You get to the point where you can go, right, I've got something sort of on the bench, got something sort of in the active. You got to deal with both.
Yeah, I mean, if he uses the Mind Blown, he only needs to discard 1 energy because of the weakness.
Yeah, true.
And then he has a Blacephalon, which is potentially able to draw another prize card if Brennan... Because if Brennan wants to take the knockout now, he needs so many hand cards
Yeah.
at once. We know he already has a bunch of energy, so that's there. But he needs something to retreat. He needs the attacker. He needs a welder, and then 7 energy cards on top of that. So he's asking for a lot. So Stephane might actually be just like, let's gamble. Maybe I can, like, if I take the knockout here, maybe I can draw 2 prize cards. Or he goes for the Jax Dam. I said, and that's why I said this is interesting to see. However, yeah, he had to use greens, so...
Oh, it discards one of the beast rings, which is actually... I mean, one of the worst case scenarios from that, really, of just going, well, it's one attacker that I can't get for free.
Yeah.
Should you be able to KO me this turn?
Imagine discarding one of your Blacephalons with that. That would hurt so much. I mean, Stephane knows that there is none, and even if he knew there was one, he would probably still attack. But yeah, like the Beast Ring is not something you want to discard, but it's certainly not one of the worst cards you could have hit off that. Like, imagine the reset stamp. Oof,
so there's
that's a crucial card.
There's another Elm and a Heat Factory. So we're going to see the Heat Factory first. Discard it. Draw 3. Hoping to really see the welder now.
Yeah, Brennan is now really just digging for a welder. He has... well, and he doesn't have all the energy cards he needs to take the knockout.
No, he's...
Oh, wait, he has a Flint. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So he has a Flint and enough energy. So now just the welder's basically missing. Let's see if
and a way to
that's going
switch,
to happen.
right? So he needs to get his escape
He can retreat because he woke up. I mean, unless he draws into the very end and then has to Stellar Wish.
Yeah.
But if you have to Stellar Wish and don't have a way to retreat, then you can't attack anyway. So, but let's see how this transpires. We see this is a. Oh, he got Poker Gear, so he can try.
He can dig.
If this Poker Gear gives him the welder.
And it's a big old dig. And
Yeah,
he
here
sees
it is.
Okay, so hang on.
Oh boy.
This is going to really kind of swing the game around because this is a huge knockout.
Yeah.
And also, Stephane has nothing. Like, Stephane needs to attach welder and, again, the 3 energy, kind of basically completely flipping the scenario from last game where it's going, right, okay, well, I have a way of taking the KO. Can you keep up with me?
Yeah, so now we see welder just draw additional cards, 3 additional cards.
I think there's another energy in there as well, so he really has it now.
Oh boy, worst case scenario for Stephane here.
Yep, I like that. Brennan going, all right, how many energy are in here? Okay, I'll retreat to make sure I get some more value from this fiery crystal. No, the fire crystal, and there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 value. And we can now
Yeah, these are just going back, right back.
Yeah, this is like, well, I picked them up, but also I need these to knock you out with this Fireball Circus. And it's going to be a huge one-hit knockout, 2 prizes, early lead. And we also saw one of the Beast Rings discarded, so Stephane only has 1 available in order to help power up this Blacephalon as quickly as possible.
So let's see, Stephane's turn now. Now he's really hitting from behind. He does need something
to
take the knockout, otherwise I don't really see
He has
him
welder
coming
and Flint,
back.
so he has it.
Yeah, okay, so he can... Yeah, also Rosa or Greens would have gotten him because he's on Beast during turn.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the Ultra Space left, which is usually something Stephane needs to get another attacker because now he can just... Yeah, it seems like he's actually he's thinking about the Rosa because he doesn't have a Pokemon to...
Yeah, so the Rosa that gets you the Pokemon as well, which protects him and lets him grab... Basically, look at... I mean, could you think of a better 3 cards to take in this precise scenario? Because I really am struggling.
It's pretty nice. Like, he really wanted to... Like, I mean, a welder would have been better, but he was not able to do it because the stadium got kicked, so he was forced to play it safe, just get another Blacephalon in play, put that on the bench, energy active Beast Ring, energy attach, but he still has a welder for the next turn, so he still has some time. I don't know if he has enough resources.
He has the crystal.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to go for a Heat Factory.
He already did. That's where he got the
fair
greens
enough.
and the
All right.
welders from. So he's also drawn into his Victini at the right team. So
that's
this
actually
is
pretty
beautiful.
nice. Yeah. So next turn he can use welder and take the knockout.
Put it all back.
And
And kind of basically be in the same. I like how he's just like, I'm going to put these on top because realistically they're all going to the discard in a second, right? So plays the fiery crystal, discarding the.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he can. He knows he's discarded both B strings, right? So
yeah,
the green should be the.
He has no B strings left.
So the green is the safer discard here.
Yeah.
You know. This is why you always take an extra moment to think about it. It's like, I'll discard the welder because I want the. No, wait. I've used them. I discarded one.
Yeah.
I can't afford to.
And I guess it's I don't know which attacker Stephane wants to use next turn, because like I mentioned game 1, the Victini timing is not...
It's not trivial, right? Like,
yeah, it's not trivial at all, because you put yourself in a position where there are a lot of fire energy in your deck, which is, I mean, good by itself. You already play 16 fire energy anyways. But in the late game, the ratio becomes worse, so you drawn to only energy, but you need energy in combination with other cards. So the ratio is what makes it. I'm really interested to see this next turn. However, right now, Brennan's turn again. Just like last turn, he needs a bunch of energy cards. He
has 3 fire crystals in hand. He has a bunch.
He wasn't able to establish a board with a lot of birds yet. So yeah, his deck isn't running as good as it could be. However, he's still in a commanding position, I would say. They have the same amount of prize cards, but Brennan is in the lead since it's his turn.
Yeah. So the fiery flint grabbing another 4 energy, thinning it down to make sure he has the best outs to a welder and switch option. So he has a bunch of stuff in hand.
Victini in his hand.
Yeah.
So even if he whiffs the retreat option, he can welder and then infinity, because he can retreat with the hand attachment.
I was actually trying to think about this. I was like, I think going second with your Victini is better. I think it's just if you use your Victini to KO their Victini, you put yourself in a slightly better situation, because it's an easy attacker to set up, but it also means that you have more resources ready for the next Blacephalon
at the
right
time.
It
depends,
really weird.
Since to knock out a Victini, you need 1 energy less, so you don't need as many resources. But Brennan, it seems like he got everything he wanted. Poker gear on. Welder, and now if he is able to retreat,
so he's going for it.
Yeah, like I said, he didn't get the wait, what? He didn't get the escape board. If he would have drawn the escape board now, or gets it with this Pidgeotto, he can still use Jirachi.
I think he did.
Here it is. Well, you don't know beforehand, but now he can still use Jirachi. And it's still really nice because he has the hand attachment available now.
Yep. He kind of half sets up another Blacephalon a turn early, makes it kind of just a little bit more likely to get it again the turn after. Stephane having that reset stamp in his prize cards is really hurting him right now. Because look at the size of Brennan's hand. Look at the options available to him. And he's just going to go, it's fine. I can really quite easily sort this out. And I like that pickup of the fiery flint. He's going to hold that for next turn. Be able to go, right, cool, I'm going to shuffle a load of them in, but I can take 4 straight back out. That awkwardness that I have, where I have this kind of slightly dead deck now, all the energy, I can take 4.
Infinity is so much better for Brennan, since he can just filter through his deck and
you can dodge the fire energies.
Cards, and I mean, it makes his Jirachi worse, and especially if it's poorly timed together with the stamp. And here we see a lot of fire energy cards.
8. There's a 160 damage infinity going in.
Yeah, that should be enough. And 1 prize card for Brennan. And now Stephane in a weird position again. He has more prize cards and also worse board state. So let's see how he tries to win this.
Well, this is now turning into basically a who misses first kind of scenario. And in this situation when there is only 25 minutes gone, so we're just over halfway through the round, actually getting into these kind of who misses first positions is terrifying, because it's, right, okay, Stephane's like, right, okay, got to keep ticking over. I don't have to run away with this game. I just got to tick over and kind of get there. If I do, I can win. And I can win this game. Brennan kind of wants this to not be a ticking over game. He'd like to just run away with it so they have enough time to play game 3. That's the only way he wins this right now, is he needs to go to a game 3 or win this and then get into a weird tiebreakers kind of situations.
Yeah, let's hope that won't happen.
I mean, I was going to say, I think going into a tiebreaker, you strictly speaking want to go second, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because you can in theory attack
yeah,
turn
exactly,
1.
yeah.
So you actually really want to go second in the tiebreaker if we get to that point.
Well, I
hope
I
not.
don't really think so, but let's see. But currently we're still in this game. Stephane is using his fire crystal to get some energy cards back into his hand. Use the welder active. Now can attach a single energy to the benched Blacephalon. And now I guess he can just attack with Infinity.
Yeah, Infinity for 7 in the discard according to his dice.
Yes.
It might be slightly different. He may not have updated his dice.
No, he just did, so
okay,
I'm pretty
perfect.
sure it's accurate, but let's see.
And that's a lot of fire energy going back into the deck.
Yeah, exactly 7, 140 damage. Would have been enough for a Blacephalon as well. And the Victini hits the discard pile, which is technically not correct, but I don't care.
Yeah, it ain't coming back anyway, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, there's no way this makes any difference in this game anyway. So let's just ignore this. Welder, 3 energy, Brennan again. Just very
cool.
simple.
I can do it too. You're not stopping me. And at this point, the odds of drawing the extra single energy he wants to be able to take the knockout, because he only needs 2 this turn, we're almost guaranteed, I think, at this stage, in terms of how many cards are left in his deck and how much of it is energy. And I like that, again, getting rid of the Ultra Space, the heat factory for the Ultra Space is like, well, I'm okay with you getting another attacker, because I think he's actually running very low on them. And kind of puts him in a very strong situation of going, well, you can't draw out of it, and both of us now need welders every turn to be able to draw out of this.
Yeah, and this also makes his deck a little bit thinner. And as we just saw, a bunch of fire energy cards, just using air mail for energy. But it's not too bad. He needs energy cards right now.
Yeah. I think
but he wants
Jirachi?
like the last one. No, that was also the second air mail. Now he can still use Stellar Wish. Let's see.
This could be a lot of fiery stuff.
Well, nothing too relevant. I mean, he doesn't need any escape board.
No, but
and he also doesn't need the Ultra Space, so this is just something. But again, it's just 1 card less to draw 1 more hand card, which is just there. And it's like food for your... Oh yeah, you can either just attach it or discard it with Fire Flint.
It means you have another free retreat option should this Jirachi somehow get caught up and get knocked out. So it does keep the options available. Retreats, and I think he already has the 3 in hand. He has 4, and crystals.
Yeah, he only needs 2.
Yeah, so he's got plenty enough resources available to take the KO. He's just going to go, right, do I have enough?
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect board state,
yeah.
basically. He has a Pidgeotto in hand, so he can just draw another card. And yeah, Stephane has almost nothing. He can use the opponent's Ultra Space, which is quite nice, to get another Blacephalon from his deck. But
this is his last one.
Yeah, since he used the Blacephalon GX in the wrong order. But it doesn't matter, since if both Blacephalon get knocked out, then Brennan drew 2 cards anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for Stephane, it's a little bit different, because if he knocks out 2 Blacephalon, then Brennan needs his Blacephalon GX, but he does have it in his hand already. And even if he wouldn't have, he could just Ultra Space. So it's pretty much... I don't think it's possible for Brennan to lose at this point, but Stephane doesn't know yet, so he's just like, well, let's just hope maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe on the off chance that like 0.0, like that 0.1% might be.
Yeah. So
it.
we just see... Yeah, that was just a welder. Okay, well, I've got the 3. I'll just deal with the 3. I'm not going to hang around here. Let's just get on with the game, right? So a 3 energy discard for Fireball Circus, KOing the next Blacephalon in line. And another welder, another drawing of 3, and an attach.
And Welder's just chilling on the bench
left
now.
in deck.
I mean, you don't need deck cards, right? It's just...
Okay,
it's like, let me just check what's left here.
Pal
Pad.
That's huge. It means that he can at least get to another
it doesn't matter now, because...
attackers, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter, because he can just use Blaze Jax for the last prize card.
Yeah, true.
But it's still fine. I mean, I don't know really what he's doing now. I think probably just getting ready to getting stamped. He doesn't know that Stephane
still hasn't got it yet.
Yeah, so Brennan just needs to maximize his chances of getting everything.
Yep.
He cannot put the Blacephalon GX on the bench.
It's tempting, but you can't do it, right?
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. But it doesn't really matter too much since the Ultra Space. Yeah, and here we see him just using the Fiery Crystal. He doesn't need to do it.
But it means
well,
that
yeah, he actually does need. But
Yeah.
even if he would have not needed to, he would still play it, since he just needs an energy to win this game next
Yep.
turn. Unless Stephane kicks the Ultra Space, but even if he does, then having a bunch of energy is actually fine.
So there we go. That is the next Fireball Circus, putting them down to a single prize card. Getting very close to sealing out the game. I don't know if there is a win condition. Well, there is no win condition for Stephane this turn. He just avoids getting benched out, which doesn't matter because he loses his last prize card.
Well, the only way Stephane can win is if he plays Slice Sender Labs, but I don't think that's in his deck.
Nope, it's not in the list. So at the stage now where basically, well, I can take the KO, but you also probably have a way of taking a prize card.
Yeah, Brennan is just like, show me the stamp.
Well,
Stephane's like,
well, I think Stephane's also having to kind of assume, like, you have to go, well, maybe the Stephane GX is the last prize card.
I mean, I would
Like,
still
that's
try
the other
it.
read,
I
right?
mean, and he's up a game, so it doesn't really matter too much.
Like, if that Stephane GX is the last prize card, taking this single KO, that's game.
Yeah, or even if it's it's very unlikely, Brennan might whiff an energy. Well,
Yeah.
actually, no. I think it's impossible for him to whiff an energy because he has almost no deck. He can draw his whole deck with Pidgeotto. So, yeah, Stephane. Yeah, like you said, he's just hoping maybe the last prize is simply Stephane GX. So let's see. But it is not. So Stephane just takes a knockout here. Fireball Circus. Brennan promotes his Jirachi. The Cephalon GX on the bench, and then you can see the perfect way this matchup can be played.
Yeah.
Taking 4 prize cards with your Blacephalon, taking 1 prize card with Victini, and using the GX attack for the very last one,
and that,
as we see right now.
Okay, so 1-1 in the final. I'm still not entirely sure who's favoured in this matchup, to be honest.
I still think it's Brennan.
Yeah, you still think it's still going to be on the Brennan side?
Yeah, I mean the. Yeah, we actually we have a little bit different opinions, but I think the reset stamp, while it is nice, it only is strong if Brennan had a bad setup. And Stephane is always like, he's in a weird position because he needs to draw so much. Brennan needs also draws a lot, but Brennan has a lot of draw support, which Stephane doesn't have.
True.
So as long as I think if Brennan starts a Jirachi, it's really nice, but it's not too likely. He plays 4 of the Professor Allen's lecture, so he's able to, just get 1 Pidgeotto on board, and he's already fine. So I think if Stephane's opening hand is pretty good, he can overroll Brennan, which he tried game 1.
Sure.
Which is funny because it didn't work game 1, but he won anyways because Brennan had his last 2 prize cards, which was kind of weird. Like Stephane didn't, like he tried to overroll him, like he used the Blacephalon just on the off chance of knocking out the Jirachi. He just attacked from on there every turn. Brennan always had the answer, and he only lost because of his prize cards, which is, like I said, it happens, it's unfortunate. But so I think Stephane's just trying to do the same thing. As we enter game 3, I think we need to update the
scores, because it's now 1-0.
The scores as well, but 15 minutes left. This is a 1-hour game, so the Swiss rounds only play 50 minutes. And then on top cards, the tournament organizer is allowed to choose between 60 or 75 minutes, with most regionals choosing 60 and then something like World Championship or
like the ICs.
The International Championship, going usually for the 75 minutes, just to have the longest here. And we see terrible prize cards for Stephane and not very good ones for Brennan. I mean, like every attacker you prize really is going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, it really is. And I think a huge factor of this is, with the last couple of games, Brennan's actually managed to open an Elm, one's prize, and he's now also been able to open a Jirachi. But now he's actually got a Victini in the opening. And
yeah, this is
actually
also
awkward.
A pretty bad attacker. I think Victini is the well, after Blacephalon GX, probably the worst Pokemon you can start with, because once it gets knocked out, it hurts a lot, because Infinity is such a great way of just recovering your resources, which are very important, and it's also one of the attackers you really, really need. And it's a cheap attacker. You don't need to discard anything for
it.
So if it gets knocked out before actually being able to do something, that's huge. And Stephane, because he lost just that game, he can go first. So Stephane might have the upper hand here, depending on what Brennan draws for his turn.
Yeah, and it's actually really awkward, because should Stephane be able to knock out this Victini? the energy that hit the discard aren't going back into the deck in a big bunch later, and it just becomes that bit more awkward. Like we saw that, like it is possible to run out of resources in this matchup because you're just you have to commit so many energy every single turn that you go, well, I'm running out of energy. I'd like to put them back in my deck. And we saw that happen in game 1, right, where the Victini was prized. I'm like, well, I would really love to put them back in deck. It's just not an option. So we see the greens turn 1 for the Fiery Flint and the greens for a Welder and another Fiery Flint, which is basically guaranteeing that something next turn is going to a circus. Well, it's kind of an aggressive kind of going, all right, then, what have you got? If you got another, if you start with Victini, that's very telling. There's no other basic, and he's not giving him an Ultra Space. So he's going to have to discard a load of energy to Victini them back in immediately, and also Welder and hope to draw an out?
Well, I mean, his first turn looked pretty nice. Brennan's first turn. Oh, wait.
Yeah, there's no basic in hand, so he's going to have to Fiery Flint.
And then Welder on
and then Welder to hope to find an out to a basic Pokemon.
Yeah, and then Infinity for like 20.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is a really sad hand for Brennan. But this is kind of a thing, like I have to give you that, because if you play a lot of cards that don't really do much, like you can draw a lot of Pidgeotto or Pidgeys in your opening hand, and then there are a lot of trick cards that you have in the deck. And if you just draw a bunch of them, then you can't do anything. But then on the other hand, you can just draw only energy cards on the other hand as well. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's see. There's 3 cards. This is important.
There is a basic. There's a basic. Okay, so it's not a donk.
Oh, he got Blacephalon and Escape Boards.
Okay.
Like
do you want to protect the Victini?
I don't know.
But if you protect the Victini, what are you doing next turn?
Yeah, you need to discard a bunch of energy, so it probably won't really help you.
I mean, you can Blazer, but that doesn't help you either. All right.
It's weird.
It's a very weird, like, protecting the Victini seems like a good idea on paper, because you need to be able to put the energy back in deck, and it's such an efficient attacker. But
yeah, he actually goes for it.
Yeah,
he just retreats. Actually, not using the escape board to retreat is pretty good, because
you want it for your Archies.
It's 1 energy more in the discard pile.
Sure.
And Brennan tries it, but didn't hit the Fire Energy card. But now he can look at one of his prize cards, which we can't look at it anymore.
No.
But it's there. Doesn't really matter too much, I guess, what it is anyways.
I mean, it's the first one it takes.
Yeah. All right.
We should
see
be okay.
Welder for the attachment. Stephane just looked for it to have the... just looked for it.
Apparently it's the Blacephalon. It's the next Blacephalon, so it's huge.
The Blacephalon that was prized.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very back and forth game, as we have seen. But now, with the fact that Brennan knows at any given time, if he needs to go get an attacker from his prize cards, like if he knows, okay, right, I don't have an attacker, I need one for next turn, he can just pick up the Blacephalon if he wants to. And Stephane actually having 2 attackers prized is like the flip of the first game, right? Where there were 2 attackers prized for Brennan. Means that it's much more likely that Stephane runs out of steam a little bit earlier. So we see, I mean, there's a Blacephalon ready. The Blacephalon's in the active, going to get knocked out for sure this turn. The energy is all in hand ready for Stephane.
Yeah, and now you can see, like there was no Elm on Brennan's opening turn.
Yep.
And now it's basically a mirror match, but just with Brennan having a worse list, basically, because in this kind of situation, his list is so much weaker.
He's in the same situation as you was last time, by the way. He has to Welder and pray for an out.
Yeah, so... But this time he can head an Elm this way.
Okay.
So let's see.
He didn't get it! He got a load of Pidgeys, but he didn't get it. So, and this is the flip, right? We saw in the first 2 games, he hit Elm, he got himself set up, and he was in the game and could consistently get what he wanted.
So, like, it's very unlikely to draw into that kind of combination of cards that don't allow you to do anything. And here we see
he has a Jirachi
and a Blacephalon, so at least he's not losing. But
oh my word.
It's still not amazing. Like, it's really, really sad to look at. So I mean, Brennan, he can just retreat again, put the Jirachi active. And then, yeah, but this also, Stephane only needs to discard 1 energy. It gives him another turn of potentially using Welder, setting up everything. And this is really looking...
it's an ugly start for Brennan.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate.
In fact, so Stephane would now be able to, in theory, get a third attacker basically ready to go, really quickly, which basically means that he's got his board ready for the whole game. He can just go, okay, attack, attack, and attack. He's not digging for something every turn. Whereas Brennan right now is digging to save, save the tournament, to stay in it, managing to get a couple of outs. He has a fiery flint, so if he has a welder in hand as well, I think. But he's through 2 welder as well, which means that he's through 2 welder for no prize cards taken. He does have access to the power pad, but not in hand. And he's having to discard the escape board, which means that he knows this Jirachi's not staying there, but losing the escape board means that the next Jirachi can't have free retreat unless he gets to the next one. So,
but I mean, that would probably be the active form would probably get knocked out anyways.
Exactly.
But yeah, having a skateboard on a Jirachi always is pretty nice. Here we see the hand attachment. And Brennan basically just have to hope that Stephane doesn't draw well, but we know that
he's got
Stephane's
crystals
hand is
in hand,
looking
I can see.
pretty strong.
He's got a Rosa, so that as soon as this first Blacephalon goes down, he has the next one. He's going to greens.
He can just greens and chill.
Yeah.
In the turn before, he was not able to look for a ultra space. Now he can even just put an ultra space and another welder in his hand. Or I don't. Yeah, he actually goes for a greens.
Sure. Well, actually, so the thing is now he's going to go 2 prize cards ahead, right? Easily 2 prize cards ahead. And weirdly, by prizing the Blacephalon GX, we saw that happen with Brennan in game 1. By having to give up those 2 prize cards, let Stephane take the lead again. Now, Stephane doesn't actually have the ability to let that happen because it's in the prize cards.
Yeah, and it really now I think it comes down to the if Stephane is able to draw the Blacephalon from the prize cards.
Yeah.
We actually wrote there's notes on the prize game in which order they are supposed to draw it, and no one ever draws it in that order. So that's why it sometimes looks a bit weird on the stream.
Yeah.
But if he does draw it in the order, it's from right to left. If he doesn't, then he gets the acrobike before he gets one of the 2 Blacephalons.
Yep.
And then he is a little bit behind on prize cards. But he would, no matter in which order he draws, he will always get the Blacephalon GX. But yeah, let's see. Stephane basically just needs to prepare for
Small
a few
circus.
turns. Yeah, and also the welder. He needs to have a welder at some point, but he also can use the B strings. And he knows that, Brennan probably doesn't play any stamps, so he knows just having a green and the right turn is fine.
This is 3 turns in a row that Brennan's managed to find a welder.
Yeah, he just drew into welder, but the first 2 welders were completely wasted.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that he actually plays the power pad, because without the power pad, I think he had no chance of winning.
Yeah, because he can't get his attackers quick enough.
Yeah, he does not play B strings, so
yeah.
no way to win. And Stephane knows, okay, my active Blacephalon will get knocked out. Then I can play Rosa, get another energy, get another Blacephalon, whatever, get just a bunch of stuff down. He can even search for Victini with the Rosa, which is usually a card you cannot search for.
Yeah, that's a really good turn to draw the pal pad.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
That's huge.
Pretty nice. I mean,
and I think it also means that at this point when he gets knocked out, there's actually enough energy that the Infinity takes the next KO.
Yes.
So it's actually like he's managed to keep the Victini alive just about long enough.
He's just floating underneath the water. He's not lost yet, but it's not like he's swimming really strong. He's just managed to not drown until now. But
so I think he has a crystal, so he can just guarantee himself the knockout. Interesting.
Ooh. It seems like he's going for Infinity now.
Go for the Infinity this turn. Okay. And take the KO this turn. Maybe it might be a case of that he knows that the Blowns are more valuable in this matchup because it means that, okay, you have to commit more resources, but it means that they're ticking over versus the cheap KO he can get here. At least kind of keeps him in it.
I mean, if you use the Infinity next turn, it's an additional 6 energy cards in your discard pile, then additional 6 cards that clunk your deck more, and a clunky deck is nothing Brennan really wants to have right now. So probably it's just it doesn't matter when I attack with it, but if I do it next turn, I just have a lot of more dead cards in there, and that's not what Brennan wants. I mean, if he has all the Pidgeys on board, it doesn't matter. It's actually nice to have all the energy back. But right now, he doesn't want to draw just energy cards. He needs a lot of stuff, especially welders. And one of his welders actually in the prize cards. And this might be important as well, since he already used 3.
Yeah.
He shuffled 2 back, so there's 1 in the discard pile, 2 in the deck.
Yeah, he's.
Let's see if he will be able to win this somehow.
I mean, it's one of those things where like you don't build this deck for the mirror.
No, and I don't think you tie to the tech for the mirror as well. It's so I don't think anyone predicted that much Blacephalon in day 2.
But weirdly, having more ways of getting 2 energy into play every single turn is the secret to the mirror. And I think whoever has the most welders available, and in this case also the copies of the Beast Ring, I think are the big difference. They're gonna make a big difference because it means that it's much easier to keep chaining these attackers, as we've been seeing in this series so far. But we're only a couple of minutes away from time.
Yeah, so it's going to be timeouts.
Like we're definitely not going to take 6 prize cards.
Yeah, and then in a timeout position, Stephane is still.
Oh, he's winning, right?
So much. Like he has such a strong board. I don't think that Stephane can lose if this goes into timeout.
No.
Since he will. Well, in a normal game you would tie, but this is top cut, so someone has to win. And the way this is decided is just who have taken most of their prize cards. And I mean.
Right now it's Stephane, and it's going to continue in that order, I think. Stephane needs a turn to miss.
Yeah, if Brennan wins, he wins like at the end, because then like Stephane is out of attackers or with an attack 1 turn, and then he kind of wastes his resources and isn't able to keep everything up. But this really seems like Stephane is going to win this.
Yeah, Stephane's just double checking that he's got his got everything done that turn, and
he
takes the
needs
knockout.
2 energy cards, grabs a prize card, and now Brennan's turn again. And he really needs to hurry, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know if how aware he is of the time. So.
No, it's actually very easy to lose track of time in these games.
Yeah.
Like a 50-minute one, like you can practice, you can set a timer for like your standard round time, because that's what you play most of the tournament. But you don't really practice the extra 10 minutes that Top Cup gives you.
I don't know. Like most people use a clock. I always had a clock, but
sure,
I don't
but
know.
no, but it's like when you you're not thinking about hour-long games and like how you play an hour-long game versus a 50-minute game. But we're going to get now to, I think it's just going to be like just aggressively go right. No, just go away, take the knockout. I need to like KO quick. See the gear. He really does need to find one of his welders. He just put back in. Oh, there it is.
Okay,
that's huge.
At least something.
So he can at least kind of get another attacker going.
Yeah, he needs a bunch. He needs
energy
quite a few
active,
and then he needs 2 energy to attach, and he also needs 3 energy for the knockout in the hand. So I mean, the perfect hand would have 6 energy cards. I'm not sure if that's all available to him.
He does have, I think, a crystal in hand, I think I saw. So at least that's 3 available to him.
And he has a pretty good chance of drawing energy from the welder.
Yeah.
And I think he knows that, so he should just go for it, I guess. But there's only 1 fire energy in the hand, right? Oh, welder for 1. No.
No, not even full value. This is basically falling another turn behind here. And I didn't
even
see
draw
it.
a single energy card off that welder.
Or an out to one, right?
Oh,
no, he got the flint. Okay. He's playing the promo one. I don't recognize the promo one.
Okay.
So it's not the I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing the one that's on screen, not the cool.
Yes.
I like the new one. It's just not.
I don't like it, but it's fine. It looks like a lunchbox that someone puts stones in. You're like, why
my
are there
favorite
stones
lunch.
in my lunchbox?
As we get 4
but
energy.
I think for Blacephalon, the energy are probably lunch. He eats so many of them each game. It's amazing. But yeah, Brennan got a Pitki, which is, well, I mean, fine, I guess. Will maybe evolve in the next few turns. And is able to take the knockout. Now going down to 4 prize cards. So it looks like
I think time's being called.
So it's timeout.
Yeah. I think it's being called now.
And the judge said that it is time. So we have someone going there.
Just to confirm that, we need to make sure that time has been called.
All right, I don't know who is turn 1 or turn 0. I don't think it's really relevant.
I don't think it matters here, as long as basically no one gets benched out.
Stephane really needs to take the knockout.
Yep.
But yeah, he just needs a welder basically. It is Beast Run territory, so in theory he could use 2 Beast Rings and retreat. But of course, the safe way is just go for welder.
Yeah, hit the welder, take the knockout in a nice easy way. So we can basically take the clean KO and go, right, okay, we're in time. If I'm turn 0 or 1, I'm ahead in prizes. You cannot catch up because I'm 2 prize cards ahead of you, and there's no 2 prize option.
Yeah, so for everyone who just tuned in, maybe isn't too familiar with official tournaments, during a normal round, this would be a tie, but because it's a final, someone has to win. So they just continue to play, and then at the end of the last extra turn, someone has to win. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's a tie. So if someone wins, they win. And if someone loses, they lose. So it's So now they continue to have 3 extra turns, and at the end of that, the person who has taken more prize cards wins. Actually, no, the person who has the least prize cards remaining wins. So that would be probably Stephane. Yeah, he got the welder, so that's pretty strong. Also the B string, so he's basically just like, well,
I have 2 attacks.
Everything, so just I win, I guess.
Yeah, I mean he has 2 attackers ready.
Yeah,
he's taking a knockout, and he's already ahead. Like it's a very big difference.
And there's no way for Brennan to disrupt.
Nope.
And sometimes, like the Infinity is actually a little bit funny because you can't use it twice in a row.
Yeah.
But you can just retreat, so it doesn't matter at all. And now Stephane ending his turn, going into the second turn in time.
As we see.
And I do not think that there is any way for Brennan to win. Well, he doesn't know Stephane's hand, so he's just trying it out, discard energy. He needs welder and a bunch of energy. He got the welder.
He's the crystal there from last turn.
Oh, nice. So at least, well, he can at least take the knockout.
Yeah.
But then Stephane basically just shows him the hand, and then it's over.
He just goes, well, I have KO. It's all good.
All right. Yeah, he's just like,
going,
oh, 6?
That's 6? Okay.
All right, so we see welder, attach 2, draw 3. Very powerful attack. The Pidgeys and the Elms, a little bit too late. And this would have been a very different game if he got these earlier.
Yeah.
Lily Pokédoll. Like in a normal game, it's pretty nice to have, but in the timeout,
it's a bit late now, isn't it? Like if it started, had an option of getting that up early, it makes a completely different game. But as it is, he takes the KO.
And now it's on Stephane.
Stephane's just going to go, well, I have KO. I'm the last turn of time. Like, which way would he like to get all the energy is his new game?
He could have just played the crystal, I guess, but yeah, let's see. So this is, he's a little bit shaky. He's about to win, and he knows that he has everything. And Brennan's just like, yep, okay, I got it.
Yeah, high pressure here.
Should we handshake now or later?
On the last turn of time.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Like, I still think that Brennan's deck has the edge in this matchup.
And there it is.
Yeah, Stephane Ivanoff wins. Congratulations.
To Stephane winning the Baby Blounds Mirror. Yeah. Baby Blounds Mirror in the final here in Bochum in 2020, the first region of 2020.
Yes.
And not a bad way to start the year for Stephane.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Actually, there is a carnival convention in the same hall, which is really fitting. Maybe there was some kind of magic going on here that bless our Blacephalon players. However, this great tournament, we had about 650 masters, all came together, played 14 rounds of Swiss.
Yep.
After 9 rounds of day 1, only 72 players remained. After the additional 5 rounds, only 8 players remained. Going down to Brennan and Stephane, ending with just Stephane. A deck that he is typically, like, I wouldn't expect Stephane to play something
style,
like the Cephalon,
right?
But he thought it was a really nice meta call here, and I think Vest really deserves a win. So we will be happy to get a chat with Stephane, I guess. So we will see you then.
Before we go, quickly, we're just going to have a thing of the last winner of the last promo Reshiram Charizard.
Yes.
Was Nasty Nork. _ Nork. Drop us a message, or we've messaged you, so we can get the details, so we can send you the PCA graded, authenticated promo Reshiram Charizard. But once again, congratulations to Stephane, and we'll be back shortly with a winners interview.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Stephane. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
The winner of the regional championship in Bochum.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I think the question most people have, why Blacephalon?
Well, it worked, right?
Well, I mean, you won.
So let me explain a bit more. I think this deck was very underrated. So it has some very good matchups against tag team decks like Guardian. Okay, I lost my only run to Guardian, but in theory, it's a good matchup. Like against slower decks, like, I don't know, ADP Bird Trio, Pikarom is fine, Mewtwo is 50-50, Ability Zard is a good matchup. So it does this. I know that people prefer the Pidgeotto variant of Stephane, but the green is faster and doesn't have the weakness that Pidgeotto has, you know, like cross division or like Roxy Charm going linear attack and then spread or whatever. So I think it's good. I think it's underrated. Also beats the Pidgeotto variant most of the time. It has a chance against Malamar, so yeah, I think I had a good matchup spread. I had played the deck, I had practiced it. I wasn't confident with my other choices for this event, and a bunch of other French players were going to play. So we were like, okay, let's beat the Baby Blancs gang.
All right, so yeah, you actually already mentioned the other version with Pidgeotto. I kind of thought, I didn't test this at all, but I thought that the Pidgeotto version might have the upper hand because you draw so many more cards, so as long as your first turn is fine, then you win, or is it just a consistency?
Well, as you saw, it's mostly who takes the first prize, with some things that can go wrong depending on prizes, because we both don't have a lot of attackers, so prizes can matter. The thing is, yes, Pidgeotto is very consistent once it gets going, but sometimes it can take a few turns, you know, like turn 1 you get your Elm, you get like PG, and then turn 2 you get some Pidgeottos, and then only after turn 3 you get Welder. Sometimes it does that, whereas the green variant will go turn 2 all of the time, and sometimes turn 1 if you go second you can get a knockout, especially on like Jirachi, for example.
Oh yeah, true. Like the very first game you won because the opponent prized like Blacephalon and the Victini.
Yeah, that was lucky.
So that was yeah, pretty nice for you. On the other hand, you played a lot of rounds, which were like your. I mean, you don't need to know all of them, but like, what was the which decks did you lose against and tie?
Yeah, so I faced overall a very a lot of different decks, so it's very very varied. For example, in day 1 I played 8 different decks out of 9 rounds. I lost to Tina Trump. In theory the matchup was okay, but he played 3 reset stamp, and it can be annoying at the end. I also lost to Guardian in day 2. Yeah, they usually have to use reset stamp to gain some time to prevent me from taking knockouts until they have 6 energy to Magical Miracle GX, and then hope I don't top deck Custom Catcher or whatever. But yeah, honestly, most of the time, Guardian, if you go first against Guardian, you win. If you go second, it's can be harder. And I tied against Malamar.
Oh yeah, actually Malamar is probably not a great matchup.
It's not amazing. It's not bad. Like it's not like you lose, you cannot do anything, because again you're faster. You can always often take a prize before, and then it's just, you know, taking prizes every time. And since most of the time they don't play reset stamp, you can just try to anticipate what the opponent is gonna do. So be like, okay, so next turn is their, I don't know, Blacephalon, the Psychic Blacephalon, I don't remember the attack, but let's say they're going to use the Psychic Blacephalon's attack, then you'll be like, okay, so I have to, they're probably going to spread the counters this way, so I have to prepare something else and so on and just, but if you take the first knockout, often you can just take a knockout every turn and then just win this way.
All right. Which is the worst matchup for Blacephalon right now?
Control.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I won against Jesper in top 8 because of his deck list mistake or whatever. He didn't have stadiums, so he couldn't remove the hit factory from play. So he couldn't really lock me, because at some point he goes chip axe, but I have put energy back with Victini, so it's like free fire energy, and then I draw free, and then it's okay. But otherwise, yeah, Pidgeotto control and Dull Soul are both bad matchups.
Did you play against any?
Apart from Jesper, no.
Okay, so yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I guess I want to thank all the friends who are waiting for me to go home right now. Like the Baby Blancs gang, we were a group of French players bring the deck. 4 of us made day 2, which was very nice. And especially I want to thank my friend Etiel, who is the guy who's been playing the deck for the last 2 months maybe. And he made a lot of small improvements to the deck. And he was the one who convinced all of us to play it. So thank you very much for convincing me. And also thank you to all the people who supported me, either here or at home on Twitter and everything.
All right. So, like, how did you like the tournament? Was the
it was pretty nice.
Flow nice? All right.
I've been here before.
Oh, when?
The Arena Cup in 2000.
Oh yeah, I actually remember that. Yeah.
You were there. I remember you lost in the finals.
I was second place.
And yeah, it was probably one of the hardest most heartbreaking moment of my my career, because I lost in top 8 in the Arena Cup, which meant that I didn't get top 22
Oh
in
yeah, I
Europe that
remember.
year.
Yeah.
You know, because I lost against Mehdi, and we played a game, and he beat me fair and square in top 8, and I needed top 4 to win. So when I actually won my top 8 match right now, I was just relieved, because it felt like, yes, I finally made it through top 8, and I've made it in Bochum, which has a signification for me.
Oh,
and
true. Yeah. So very historic location here, but this time you were able to beat the top 8, also top 4, and the finals. So congratulations again.
Thank you very much, David.
Yeah, we are going into a not into a break. Like this is the last end of the round where I don't say we go into a break. We are ending the stream. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your feedback. It was a lot of fun for us as well. And yeah, see you next time. We don't know where yet, but hopefully next time we stream, you turn in.